All right, YouTube, we back at it again. Welcome to the Gods of Boxing Talk. Now we want to do another What's Hot segment. And what's hot right now, my man, Cellestino Caballero. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now, this is a perfect example of what I call putting in that motherfucking work, bro. My man got caught, if you haven't heard, a couple days ago, was arrested for having 10 kilos of cocaine in his whip. You know what I'm saying? My man was putting a motherfucking beating on the block, B. 10 kilos, nigga. So, he's going to be gone for a long-ass time unless he's got an excellent fucking lawyer. Now, this is a guy, if you don't know who he is a ex-3-time champ at bantamweight and super bantamweight. So, and at one time, I watched the shit out of Cellestino Caballero. I was like, man, this dude is a beast. He's whooping everybody's ass. I can't remember this guy's name, but he had went to Canada. The guy was an undefeated fighter. This is what really turned my eye towards him. He was an undefeated fighter, and you know the Canadians and the fight was on HBO, and the HBO broadcasters, Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant, they were talking about this guy like crazy. Oh, you know, he's a beast. You know, he's good. Caballero might be in trouble. Man, Caballero went in there and knocked this motherfucker out in 4 rounds, dude. Easy work. You know what I'm saying? From that point on, I was like, yo, this cat is nice. Then his career, as he got older, I think now he's like 37, 38. As he's gotten older, you know, we've gotten new fighters, better talent. His career took a slide. You know what I'm saying? As of late, and this will probably be his ending career record, knowing he's caught with 10 kilos. He's 37 wins with 6 losses, right? And his losses have come against decent fighters, guys that are, you know, went on to be world champions, and guys that are, you know, considered to be future world champions. I mean, he didn't lose the bums too much, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he was a good fighter, and this is a perfect example of a guy who, you know, at one point he was on top of the world, and then his career took a slide, and he's got to find a way to make money. You know, boxing is not a sport to get rich in. You know what I'm saying? This is why we say what Al Heyman is doing for the sport is excellent. You see what I'm saying? Because when you're fucking with a lot of these other promoters, and as we will talk about this later, but what Ishe Smith said in an interview with Fight Hype, a lot of these other promoters, man, to fight, if you're unknown, fight 6 rounds, you get like $1,000. For 8 rounds, you may get $5,000. For 10 rounds, you may get $10,000. You know what I'm saying? Ishe said to be on the undercard of a fight, he got $15,000 just as the undercard, you know, while he's been fucking with TMT and Al Heyman. So that's what I'm saying. People like Cellestino Caballero is one of those people. He realized he wasn't getting the money he needed in the sport, or at least he wasn't going to get the money he got whenever he was the 3-time champion, right? Since his career took a slide. And he had to go put in the work. What do you think about this, man?
Man, I mean, it's, you know, always unfortunate to hear that, you know, somebody's life, you know, took such a turn for the worse. Because getting caught with that much, you're going to do a lot of time. And it's probably going to be some fed time in there, too. So, I mean, I really hate it for the dude, but it just speaks volumes about what you just mentioned, you know, and that is that a lot of fighters don't get paid the money that you think they're getting paid, you know, and they don't have a lot of means after boxing. You know, so a lot of these guys have to fight on and fight on and fight on because they can't get that lucrative deal. You know, a lot of promoters don't offer them those big money contracts, and if they do, at the end of the day, they end up getting screwed pretty bad. So, you know, like I said earlier, I really hate to hear anybody caught with 10 kilos of anything, you know? But man, I mean, it really sucks for the dude, you know? I wish maybe he would have invested his money a little bit better. I wish he would have had some of the opportunities, you know, afforded to the fighters today, put in place by guys like Al Heyman, you know what I mean? Who really seem to be looking out for his fighters. And who really seem to be getting these guys some pretty big paydays, you know? Or at least some life-supporting paydays, or lifestyle-supporting paydays.
Yep.
You know, right now, I mean, I think boxing is in a position that it really hasn't been in a very long time. And the sole reason for that is Mr. Al Heyman. So no matter what two ways you cut it, you gotta take what happened. And man, you're gonna have to pronounce that name for me real quick, 2K. What is
Celestino Caballero.
Celestino Caballero. Yeah.
That's the American version. I didn't put the Spanish roll on it, B.
Yeah. Yep. Take this as a prime example, man. This is what happens when fighters don't make the money that they need to make.
Yeah.
The guy's a 3-time world champion.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on, people.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, come on, people. Let's really think about that.
Yeah.
You know, why should any fighter have to turn their life toward this direction just to survive?
Yep. And we're not giving excuses, people. We're just saying. I mean, there's no excuse for what he's done. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. He deserves a punishment. But what we're saying is the fact that he's not the only one that has turned back to the streets to get his money, and he was a glorified fighter at one point. I mean, there's a lot of glorified fighters out there that turned to the fucking streets. You know what I'm saying? Because they weren't getting the paydays that they either deserved, you know what I'm saying, or, you know, maybe they feel like they should be getting. The whole point is there is no money really to be made in boxing, and Al Heyman is trying to change that. All right. Correction, I don't want to do a video correction later. I'll do the correction right now. The Canadian guy he beat, he knocked him out, was Steve Molitor, and he was 28-0 at the time. Nice. And Caballero was a 3-time champion at super bantamweight and won twice at super bantamweight, 1 time at featherweight. So, man, I wish him luck, man. We'll see. Motherfucker about to get 25 to life, though. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? God damn. Next, Nonito Donaire.
Filipino Flash?
The Filipino Flash, man. I haven't said that since 2012. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Since, I think his name was Rigo, right? His name was Rigo?
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Since he fizzled out the Flash. You know
yeah.
But apparently Rigo, or Donaire anyway, he doesn't feel that way because he wants a rematch. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
So, who was the last guy he fought? His name was like Cesar Juarez or some shit like that. Can't remember his name. Don't really give a fuck. Point being is the guy that he last fight was a C-level fighter, and Donaire went life and death with this guy. You know what I'm saying? Yep. He did some sitting in the pocket and some sitting on the ropes against a guy that only had one style and one style only, and that was to come forward and throw punches. And Donaire sat on the ropes and allowed the man to get off and land clean shots on him. And this is supposed to be the Filipino Flash. The Flash don't sit on the ropes.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, en route to that win, he wins the WBO 120, I think it's 22-pound title, because he went back down to 122 after he got knocked out by Nicholas Walters. So now he's saying that he wants the Rigo rematch because, quote, he is at his best. He's at his best right now than he has, I guess, ever been. Because if I say I'm at my best right now, then I'm saying that I'm better right now than I've ever been. You know what I'm saying? He didn't clarify that, but that's just what the fuck I'm going to assume.
I mean, pretty much what it sounds like.
What do you think, man? Is he at his best?
Man, he's out his damn mind. That's what the problem is. When he fought Rigo the first time, he was at his quote-unquote best. He hadn't lost in how long?
Yeah, it's been a minute. It was a minute.
Exactly. It had been a minute since he lost to anybody. And Rigo went in there and dismantled him.
Yeah.
He came back. He fought Vic Darcini in a fight that I had him losing.
Yep.
And he got lucky and landed, I think it was that same left hook.
That's
got lucky. Exactly. Nonito Donaire has to understand that when you talk about moving up in competition or moving up in skill set, you have to be more than just one punch.
Right.
Nonito Donaire is a left hook fighter. Yep. His best punch, his most unseen punch, is his left hook. That's the only thing that's a flash about him to me, is that left hook. Nobody seems to see it. You know, but when you step up skill-wise and you fight a guy like Rigondeaux, I mean, it just doesn't happen for you like that.
You better dot all your I's and cross all your T's, man.
Oh my goodness,
against a guy like Rigo.
Absolutely. I will say this, since it seems like nobody wants to fight Rigo right about now, go ahead on and get in there and give him that ass whooping again.
Yes, sir.
There's nothing that Nonito Donaire can do to Guillermo Rigondeaux when they step in the ring. Rigondeaux beat him. I think he dismantled him.
Yep.
And I think he took his confidence.
His career went for the turn after that, B.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I am Guillermo Rigondeaux, I probably would take the fight again, like I said, just because nobody wants to fight me. And Nonito Donaire does have somewhat of a following. He does have, I think, somewhat of a loyal type of fan base. A lot of Filipinos still love him, still like him. So I will go ahead on and get in there. I can't get anybody else, Frampton, Quigg, Cruz, I can't get them guys to come up there. Lomachenko, I can't seem to get these fights. So, hey, fuck it. I will go ahead, and he's calling me out. I will go ahead on and take the fight.
Word.
But my advice to Nonito Donaire is, don't do it, son. It's just not worth it.
It's not worth it. I wish I could do Apollo Creed's trainer's face right now, B, when Apollo Creed was getting his ass whooped by the Russian. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, stop the fight. I wish I could do it. Yeah. I can't do it. But goddamn, I'll put the picture up. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about Donaire asking for this rematch. Now, I got to give him his credit, though. Nobody else wants to fight him, and he's calling Rigo out now. Will he stay true to his word? That's another story. Next! So, a lot of people thought my man was going to drop the title. Now, I shouldn't even say my man. Cess's man was going to drop the title. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't. Especially after the purse bid, everybody was like, oh, this motherfucker ain't going to Russia. He gonna vacate the title. Even Povetkin said that. But for May 21st in Russia, and there's a venue that hasn't been disclosed yet. We don't know where exactly it's going to be in Russia, but it's going to be in Russia. For May 21st, we got Deontay Wilder going to be defending his WBC crown against Alexander Povetkin. The fight is going to happen. Now, I just talked to a subscriber a couple days ago, B. They went back and watched our video, and I'll post a link in this video where me and Cez got in a live argument about Deontay Wilder. He went back, and my man said he agreed with me. Nah.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Nah, man. Look, I've been losing. There's been people coming on saying, yeah, Deontay Wilder knocks out everything he touches, and they've been going with Cez. But I finally got one for me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Nah, it ain't like that. But he came on and said that he feels Luis Ortiz will beat him, and he feels that he doesn't think he'll even get past Alexander Povetkin.
Okay.
Now I said if he beats Povetkin, I'm a believer, because I against Bermane Stiverne, that was a good step up fight. I'm not taking anything away from him. It was the fight that he got the WBC crown. But Bermane, and I did have Bermane Stiverne winning. I'm not going to come on here and lie, people. You know what I'm saying? But I said Bermane Stiverne would win only because I didn't know Deontay Wilder would be smart enough to execute an easy game plan. Listen to what I'm saying. The game plan was fucking easy against Bermane Stiverne. Why? Because this is Bermane Stiverne. He's in the ropes behind me. This is what he does. If you don't know that, go back and look at the two fucking Chris Arreola fights. He just waits. Yep. And as you coming in, if you're aggressive, then that's when he gets you.
Yep.
Well, Deontay Wilder isn't an aggressive come forward fighter like Chris Arreola. And he's longer, and he's taller, and he pumps the jab, and he throws straight punches. His money punch is the straight right hand, right? Yep. So I said I think Bermane Stiverne will win just because I don't think Deontay Wilder's smart enough, right? Mm-hmm. But it's an easy game plan because all Deontay Wilder has to do is stay on the outside and throw his money punch. That's exactly what the fuck he did. So while I do give him credit for winning that fight, I'm not going to say he's one of the best heavyweights in the world. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe at least he is one of the best, but I'm not going to say he is the best off of that win. Because let's face it, that's all he really has. After that, it was Eric Molina, a motherfucking fight he went to death for. You know what I'm saying? The same guy got knocked out in the first round by Chris Arreola. Then you had Johan Duhaupas. Then you had Arthur Spilka, right? These are all 3 C and D level fighters. So I'm not a believer just yet. But if he beats Povetkin, oh yeah, I'm riding with him, B. Oh, yeah. I'll ride with him. What do you think?
Okay. I love that fight. You know, I love the fact that Deontay is willing to go to Russia and fight Povetkin. You know, he's taking it like a man. They lost the first bid, and unfortunately, you know, the fight's going to be held in Russia. And Deontay is really holding true to the term heavyweight champion of the world. You know, which means you fight anywhere. And this is something that I've been really critical on, and that I actually miss in boxing. And that is, you used to have fights. Heavyweight fights were held in Africa. They were held in Panama. Absolutely. They were held all around the world. You know, that's what put boxing on the map. It was the fact that the heavyweights would go anywhere and fight anybody.
And that's because back then the heavyweight division was so prestigious that people were going to pay money no matter what. And you know, since then it's lost its fizz. It's not as prestigious anymore.
Absolutely. So I love it. Let's go to Russia. Let's do it. You know, I always make this comparison, and that is the Rocky IV comparison. You know, I said this with Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev. That'll be held in America, but it'll be a Russian versus an American. You know, this time we're gonna have an American versus a Russian on Russian soil, and I mean that's awesome. You know, go over there and beat this guy in Russia, knock him out in Russia. Just saying that makes me feel great because, you know, the Russians hold themselves to a certain standard. They're known to be very tough, you know, iron type of guys. And this will honestly be iron sharpening iron. And we just got to see what's going to happen. You know, I'm always going to go for my man Deontay Wilder. And I also think it gives a lot of boxing fans who are normally very tribal. I think it gives them the ability to step outside of this guy's Mexican, this guy's black, and just root for the guy because he's a fucking American fighting in Russia. And he's defending the heavyweight championship title. You know, to me, these are not throwback fighters, but this can be looked at as a throwback fight. You know, and that's what I'm really liking about it. Like I said, hats up to Deontay Wilder. He's honoring his championship. He's honoring losing that purse bid, and he's saying, fuck it. You know, why not? The one thing I will say about Wilder is he really, really, really has to learn how to calm down and control himself when he's having these big fights. The last couple of fights that were held in Alabama, he was fucking amped. I mean, he was amped up. He came out and he was looking for the early knockout. And, you know, he started making a couple mistakes. But man, even though
I said a couple.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, hey, it was 2 fights. So, you know, but, you know, he did make a few mistakes in those fights. The one thing I will say about Deontay is he does tend to settle down, and he'll settle down. He'll get his wits about him, and he does make subtle adjustments that eventually will get him the results that he wants. So going over to Russia, they have to sit him down and tell him, you cannot start the fight like that. You can't. In America, you can. In Alabama, in your home, you know, your home state, you can do it. But in Russia, you're not going to be able to go out there and make those type of mistakes. Absolutely. The Russians are going to be looking for you to do it. The crowd is going to cheer for any and everything that Povetkin does. You know, and so he has to go over there, man, with that mindset that you need to stop this guy. You know, I don't want it to go to a scorecard. I don't think the Russians are as bad as the Germans when it comes to, you know, scoring fights and shit like that. But it's all, you know, it's all European. So anything can happen. And I don't want him to get cheated. I don't want to see another Felix Sturm versus Martin Murray type of a decision. I don't want to see that shit. You know, I want him to go over there and clean Alexander Povetkin's clock because he has the ability to do it. You know, we've seen how Povetkin reacts to tall guys who use their jab fairly well with Vladimir Klitschko. Not comparing their jabs, but both guys do have very good jabs.
Yep.
So I need my boy to go over there and put this man to sleep. Put him in the coffin.
Put him in the coffin, goddammit. Where the hearse at? Nah, yeah. Hey, I agree 100%, B. You know, yeah, he's got to knock him out. Can't say it any better than what you just did, man. But yeah, I just want to say I do take my hat off to him. You know, like I said, a lot of people thought he was going to relinquish the title. Yeah. And this motherfucker said, y'all motherfuckers must be crazy if you think that I'm just going to give up what I worked hard for. And that's another thing I got to tip my hat off to Deontay Wilder about, man. He's passionate about the sport, and he has said it multiple fucking times. I really don't believe money is an object with Deontay Wilder. And this is right, and this is something that we need as fans to accept or to support in the sport. People who are actually in the sport to win and to have a legacy. You see what I'm saying? So absolutely. Hats off to Deontay Wilder. May 21st is the fight. May the best man win. Next, and the last for this segment. So the Errol Spence and Chris Algieri press tour has kicked off, man. And there has been some words from both sides. Errol Spence is like, yo, I'm trying to make this fight one-sided. You know what I'm saying? And I agree. He's got to. You know what I'm saying? Because the way that they've put him in they've kind of just placed him in the same status group as the Keith Thurmans, you know, the Tim Bradley's, the elite at 147. He's been picked up and placed there. You know what I'm saying? Without giving us any type of reason for saying that he is an elite fighter at 147. He hasn't really fought anybody. This is going to be his step-up fight. This is his coming out party. This is the fight where he needs to be like, hey, these motherfuckers put me here prematurely, but I told you motherfuckers that it wasn't because, you know what I'm saying, they didn't know what they was talking about. Look what the fuck I just did. So I agree with him on that. It's got to be one-sided. Algieri comes back and says, shit, I ain't no motherfucking gatekeeper. You know what I'm saying? Spence ain't fought no motherfucking body like me. 2K God translated, right? So, and I agree with Algieri. You know what I'm saying? Algieri, I wouldn't call him a gatekeeper. First of all, hats off to Algieri. We tipping our hats off like a motherfucker in this segment. Chris Algieri ducks nobody, B. Like, it's almost like they bring a fighter to Chris Algieri's attention. He's like, just sign the contract. I don't give a put my name on the bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like he don't even care who the fuck. It could be Mike Tyson back in the 80s. Chris Algieri is gonna sign the contract. You know what I'm saying? He is another guy that we need to support in the sport of boxing because again, he is another guy that money is not an object. He cares about fucking legacy. Now, his skills aren't the skills of an elite fighter. Chris Algieri is a B-level fighter, right? But he has the fucking heart, and he has the determination. He has the mental mindset, the mental makeup of an elite A-level fighter. It's just that his skills can't push him to that level. You know what I'm saying? But again, hats off. This motherfucker ducks nobody, and he's based. You know, I agree with him. Errol Spence hasn't fought anybody like him. So this is a really intriguing fight. We got a guy who a lot of us think should be the elite at 147. And then we got a guy who's not a pushover. He's not a pushover by any means. He's going to come to fight. What do you think, man?
Man, I love the fight. You know, I do love the fight. I agree with everything that you said about Chris Algieri. He's not a pushover. He comes there to win. Look at the Amir Khan fight. You know, he came to beat Amir Khan, and he was trying to take his head off with some of the shots that he was throwing. Errol Spence is absolutely right in what he says. Man, he does need to make this a one-sided fight. Like you said, they've placed Errol in the position that he's in right now. Not taking any credit from him, not saying that, that he's done bad or that he doesn't have the skill set, because I believe he does. But when people talk about your skill set, we want to see how it measures up against the guys. Absolutely. Absolutely. So he does need to make this fight one-sided. Can he? That's a question to be answered in the ring. I do believe that Chris Algieri does have a decent skill set.
Yes.
He does have decent movement. And I think we talked about this in the gym. I like his footwork better than I like Amir Khan's footwork. You know, and a lot of people talk a lot about Amir Khan's footwork, but I like Algieri's footwork a little bit better, you know? So I do believe that he can pose some problems to for Errol.
Yes.
You know, for as long as it lasts, he's going to be a problem. I don't see Spence knocking him out early, though. I don't see him knocking him out early. I think a lot of people are kind of thinking that Spence is going to go in there and just blow through him and walk him down like he does everybody, but I don't really see that happening.
Spence may be a white boy, but he ain't no fucking Chris Van Heerden.
You know
yeah. Or Algieri, excuse me. He may be he may be a white boy, but he ain't no Chris Van Heerden, B. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So yeah, I agree 100%. It's a good fight. It's a good step up fight for Errol Spence, and he does need to make it a one-side fight. We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah.
All right, YouTube. This is gonna conclude this segment. Do what you do in the comment section. We'll be real. This is real talk for real fans. 1.